Thanks for joining me this week on the show for a short but heartfelt message relevant to these times we are in. It is June 2025, and right now it feels like there's a lot of division, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of judgment here in the country, in the US. And I hope to, with this conversation with you today, inspire hope, inspire the potential for peace, for love, for connection. And I'm going to give you some of my own tips and opinions. Come on in and check them out. Thanks for joining me this week on the show. It's time to flip the script on stress and learn how to thrive today and throughout your days. Join me for inspiration and interviews with folks who are shining their light in the world in the areas of positive mindset, health, and well-being. I'm your host, Susi Vine. Let's get happified. Welcome back. I am so happy to be with you this week on the show. Thanks for joining me again at Stress Management and Resilience Tools for Your Happified Life, affectionately called Happified. I'm Susi Vine. I'm your host, and today I just wanted to connect with you directly, have a short little conversation about how I hope that you may feel strengthened and find that ability, that capacity to root down, to connect to your resilience, to protect your peace in these turbulent times. Here in the US and particularly in Southern California, where I live, I'm in San Diego County. And as this weekend continues to unfold, we're in mid-June 2025. More people are feeling compelled to make their expressions in hopes for peace, in hopes for solidarity, in hopes for union in times when other messages are really stealing the headlines and moving forward in the media. So, it's hard not to be political in these times. I think you might guess that I land on the side of embracing our fellow human. We are all doing the best job that we can, making our way through these lives. I continue to believe that is the case. And I hope that today I can leave you with some words or some ideas that you can hold on to if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling hyper emotional and vigilant in these times, then this conversation is for you. If you're not sure this is for you, there's lots of other episodes that will serve you and I know will support you in your quest for better health and for happiness. So if you're still with me, and I thank you for sticking around, I believe that we all have, as my friend Mel says, happiness is our birthright. A guest on my show several times. I'll link her episode in the comments below and the other ones that come to me that I mentioned as we move through today's topic. How can we protect our peace? How can we cultivate resilience? And how can we feel connected in these disconnected and turbulent times? I want to acknowledge that everyone is feeling differently. Some people are feeling afraid. Some people are feeling hopeless. Some people are holding on to hope. Some people are choosing to hold on to love and believe that we are better together, that together we can lift each other up, we can move forward, we can make space for everyone at the table if we choose to come from love instead of fear. And that is where I choose to be, to hold my energy, to move forward in life with this vision. I hope that you can join me and the world can live as one, to borrow some words from John Lennon, another one of our great philosophers, if you will. So as things move forward, as they continue, a lot of things are moving and shifting. It can feel like the ground under our feet is not stable, and that can be very disorienting. It's easy to then look outside of ourselves for security, for confirmation, for messages, how things are going, where our attention should be, and what we should feel about it, how we should act upon it. And first and foremost, and throughout this conversation today, I'd like to encourage you to look within. There's a lot of things vying for our attention. There is a lot of financial agenda in what we read, what we click, what we watch, who we retweet, repost, share posts on social media. And as much as I am tempted to get caught up in all of that frenzy, I choose to get a little bit of space, find a little bit of distance, and get some perspective, because my inner compass, the one that I've already told you, is the one that guides me towards the hope that we can work together and find room for everyone. This is where I go in these times when I need to reconnect. So rather than looking to news, looking to media, reading all the headlines and staying current on every breaking development, I find hope when I look to the people who are taking action, no matter how small. I find strength and faith in my capacity to live through these challenging times when I take action myself, in whatever way that might be, however small that might be, choosing not to be guided by external forces and blown by the winds of chaos and anger, the fury, feeling ineffective and impotent in these times. I choose to come back to doing what I can and trusting that if I'm doing what I can, and if my neighbor is doing what they can, if all of us are taking small actions in peace and holding on to love, that that wave of energy will, in the long run, outpass, sustain, move beyond the energies that are at work right now. So, a big part of this that I connect to is that action of energy, that it is contagious. Energy impacts everything around us. If you've been listening to my show for a while, you've probably heard me say a little tidbit of research that I absolutely love, that happiness has 3 degrees of impact. When you are in a happier, more positive, upbeat state of mind, that energy ripples out to not only the people that you interact with the 1st degree or the people that they interact with the 2nd degree, but research in positive psychology has actually found that at 3 degrees of impact, your positive interactions have lasting effect. They reach beyond what we physically can do in our time and space. That capacity of energy to move forward and take others with it, to lift each other up, is what I hold on to. I do believe that if we choose to stay centered and stay grounded, we choose to put our sights on what we want to create instead of giving all of our attention and energy to what we are afraid of coming to be, if we hold on to and keep shining that light, that others will see it. Right now, what we need in the world, what we need in the US, is a beacon for people to hold on to. There's a lot of angry voices, and my voice gets angry sometimes too, but that's not the voice that I choose to broadcast into the world. There's plenty of that going on. What I choose is to look within, to find that capacity for peace, to try to answer with love when I would prefer to rush to anger, to criticism, to condemnation, to judgment over others and the way that they perceive and the world that they feel that they get to create. And I come back to myself, to the people that I see around me in my vicinity who are taking steps toward positive change, who believe that together we can create the kind of world where we can all live, we can all have access to what we need to have: basic human rights, health care, the food we need to have on the table, the ability to bring in income to support ourselves and our family. All of this is within reach if we look for solutions instead of counting all the reasons that we'll never get there from here. So I invite you, when it's easy to get outside of ourselves, when our energy is chaotic and going in every other direction, to try to find that moment of calm. I call it the pause and pivot, when I'm working with clients, it takes practice to come to this ability when we are feeling triggered, when we are responding to the world around us. I invite you to bring this practice to pause, to get curious. What am I responding to? What is going on? Am I in this moment? Am I responding to something else outside of myself? In that pause, you have the power to be able to pivot, to choose to respond rather than going off of that reflexive, impulsive reaction of what is coming forward. Responding lets you have more mindfulness, lets you choose the outcome that you are moving toward. So the pause and pivot is a practice that I have called on for a long time. I've introduced that to the clients that I work with, and I find that when I practice it, it's available to me in those moments when I feel my energy is getting out of my control, when my attention is starting to spin out, and I can come back. I can feel a little bit more regulated and in control of the situation. I can see the ways in which I'm able to find an action that I'm able to take. One of the important things that I encourage you to do is to recognize how plugged in you're able to be. Not all of us can be watching all the media, consuming all the headlines, stay current on everything that's unfolding in the world the way that we might choose to be. Sometimes we feel there's a pressure to be current on all of the news, and I invite you to recognize what's available for you. Frankly, the most impactful things for you are what are unfolding in your immediate community. Beyond that, at the state level, beyond that, at the national level, beyond that, at the global level. If you want to have an impact beyond your immediate community, then I invite you to look for ways where you feel you can take action. Perhaps that's writing letters or postcards, making calls to elected officials, and then choosing to have a boundary there. Maybe that's participating in a march. If you feel that by being present with your peaceful and positive presence that you can benefit that event. Beyond that, I encourage you to, in whatever model you subscribe, to send up prayers for peace, to send love and light. If that is something that you can hold on to, it doesn't need to be attached to any kind of faith. It might be attached to your own spirituality. I encourage you to send the energy of peace. I believe that that magnetic, that beneficial power of peace that radiates outwards is one of the most important things that we can do right now. Rather than enjoying the chaos and the fury of the voices, if we hold the space for peace, I believe that is something that will benefit the world right now. Not today, not necessarily tomorrow, but I do believe you're going to start to see the fruit of that intention if that is what we're planting in our garden, right? So checking in on what media you plug into, how current you feel like you have to be, and taking the small actions that you're capable of. I also encourage you to check on your neighbor. And maybe you don't agree with your neighbors. In any case, there are places where we can connect. Again, if we go to the local level, if we go to what is affecting our neighborhood right now, if we can't agree on global events, we can probably agree on whether the potholes are being addressed in the street or the sidewalks are safe for our kids. Where can we connect with people who are aligned with us, who might not be aligned with us? There are still things that we have in common, even if we are on opposite sides of this political divide. When we look for the things that connect us, then we find more of those. We find what we are looking for. So I encourage you to keep looking for good news, keep looking for your neighbors, keep looking for opportunities for connection, because being divided and holding ourselves up in opposite corners and going through the information that the algorithm is serving up, which only confirms the information that we consumed yesterday and isn't broadening our scope or understanding of what's really impacting the world, is only fueling the division that is sparking here in Southern California, across the country, around the world these days. Connection, unity, love. These are the energies that we need to be spreading out in the world to hold against this tide of division and anger and fear. If this is a message that resonates with you, I would love to invite you to stay connected with my community. On Facebook, I have a group called Live with Less Stress. I try to post or share tidbits there to just bring a little positivity, to shine a little light in these times. I'm posting information about the podcasts that I publish. If this is just coming across your awareness and you're not familiar with the rest of the episodes, I invite you to check out Happified. You can search on my website, happifiedlife.com, by topic if there's something relevant to you in your health, in your professional career, in mindfulness, in feeling more positive. I've got lots of topics, lots of great conversations with amazing guests that I've put together over these last 5 years. I invite you to come with me, to join me in this space where peace, I do believe, peace will win out in the end if we all hold on to that potential, that intention, if we all envision that goal where we can get there together. It's not something that only some of us deserve. This is something that everyone deserves. And there will be some hiccups. There will be some bumps along the road. There always have been. The pendulum has always swung between unity and division. We can continue holding the space, putting out the energy, and seeking solutions. We can protect our peace, and we can still be agents of change. We can support movement for the better. If you know me well, you know I love my Bach Flower Essences. If you are familiar with Bach flowers, I invite you to call on those in this time. If you're not familiar, I'll have a link where you can get a free resource that explains Bach flower essences. They are very likely available as close as your local health food store. Very safe, natural remedies that help to balance our emotions. Rescue Remedy is very widely available, even at mainstream pharmacies like Walgreens or CVS. I invite you to check that out. Have that available for these moments of intense stress, when the news headlines are really gripping, when you have night frights or terrors, if the kids are coming home impacted by what's going on, in case of any accident, right? Even physical injury. Rescue Remedy is a wonderful remedy for that. In these times, I encourage you to look at remedies like mustard or gorse. These are beautiful flowers to help us bring back the light, to see the potential for good things, to help to ease the cloud of depression. Sweet chestnut is for these moments, these dark night of the soul moments when we feel like hope is lost. Red chestnut eases the concern for others. If you have concern, if you're terrified for the well-being of your friends, your family, red chestnut will help you to calm that fear in your mind. Rock rose is for terror and fright. If you want to talk with me more about what flower essences could support you, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with me through the website, happifiedlife.com, on Facebook or Instagram. Leave a comment if you're catching this video on YouTube, and I hope that I will be seeing more of you shining your light in the world. Until next time, take good care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. You'll find all the resources we discussed today online at happifiedlife.com, along with links to subscribe to Happified on your favorite player and a handy search tool so you can search all of our previous episodes. Help us grow by leaving a quick review and share this episode with a friend. Until next time, keep on shining.